How to tell you have jumped a timeline. What is up, alienARMy? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about timelines. And what I mean by timelines, just very simply so that we're on the same motherfucking page, is when you are trying to break free of the reality that you are experiencing now and transition into a different timeline, which would be aka the new and improved better you. That is what I mean. It can go by a lot of other titles, but this is just simply when you are in a situation and then you want to jump another timeline into a situation that is more beneficial. But if you are watching a video like this, I know that you are already a master at your fucking mind. Here we go. When you have jumped into a more beneficial timeline where there is a higher octave of energy that is vibrating within you, not that we aren't experiencing it all day, every day, but I never really noticed the specific signs. So keep in mind that this is my personal experience. You might have noticed other things, but I just wanted to put this out there because the universe fucking wanted me to. Some signs that you have transitioned into a more beneficial timeline.
I just wanted to give a huge shout out to today's motherfucking sponsor, Mr. Motherfucking Universe. Did you know that you can save a whole bunch of nonsense and drama and bullshit if all you do is turn away from shit that you do not want and focus on shit that you do desire? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is that motherfucking simple. You don't want it? Poof, be gone, pay no mind. If you do want it, that's what you focus on. Focus your gaze on only what you want. It is that simple. I promise you this. All you do is say thank you, thank you, thank you for things before they arrive, and they will arrive to you in the most divine and perfect way, courtesy of Mr. Universe. And of course, your own projections. Now let's get back to the show.
The Twilight Zone. This is what I am going to refer to as the Twilight Zone. This is not necessarily a step that you have transitioned into a timeline, but it's sort of like a trailer, a coming attraction, a prelude, an appetizer, if you will. When you are in the Twilight Zone state, things around you in your physical realm environment are going to seem bizarrely alien. They're going to seem alien because your consciousness has already fast forwarded in to the more enlightened you, to the version of you that is at your utmost desired state of being. Don't get me wrong, we transition timelines all the time, but a major timeline shift, you are going to notice the Twilight Zone stage, if you will, and it's going to seem like your environment is very, very alien. Nothing is going to seem really like it fits. It's going to seem like an outdated,
crusty ass, dusty ass, moldy motherfucking puzzle.
But that puzzle is all fit together. Every piece is laid in place. It is all there, but the puzzle is fucking rotting.
It's a rotten ass motherfucking puzzle.
And you are the puzzle piece that you're like, I'm nice, I'm fresh, I'm squeaky clean, I'm brand new. What the fuck am I doing in this crusty ass motherfucking puzzle?
That's a weird metaphor, but that's the best way I can describe it.
Your physical realm surroundings are going to seem like they are not a part of you, if that makes sense. Because as your consciousness is observing everything around you, obviously you already know that you are your consciousness, but because your vibrational frequency has accelerated and the 3D, because it's more slow, it's more condensed, it needs more time to slow down to present to you the environment that you are vibrating at. Things are not going to seem like they are real in a sense of, what the fuck is this still doing here? Let me throw that shit away. Just like you want to throw away the fucking already put together puzzle that you're familiar with, but you just kind of forgot about it and it's been sitting in the fucking attic or the fucking basement and it's been gathering dust and cobwebs, and now that shit,
it ain't jiggy no more.
And you're just like, you know what, time for me to throw that away. So this is the precursor when you realize that your vibe does not fit, it does not mold, it does not mesh with your current physical realm environment. This could be motherfuckers in your life, this This could be a living situation. This could be a job. This could be a bank account situation. It could be whatever the fuck it is. Whatever you see that doesn't fit and you're like, what is this still doing here? Rest assured that that will not be there. Something more advanced, more in tune with your new frequency will arrive to take its place. So don't be afraid to take out the motherfucking garbage. Don't be afraid to flush some shit down the motherfucking toilet.
If it don't belong, it must be wrong.
Reality rewind. So here's something that I personally noticed, and I am going to give you a personal example just because that's the best way that I know how to describe it. You are going to understand reality rewind because when you are consciously attuned to your new state of being, to the new timeline that you desire to be in, what is going to happen is that you might experience remnants of that old dusty crusty puzzle trying to present themselves to you. They gonna come Crypt Keeper, bat out of fucking hell to tempt you, to bait you, to say, do you really want to proceed forward? If so, you must finally put me to rest. This is the expression, what they say, slaying your motherfucking demons. And demons can be personified into caricatures, but they can also be thought forms and emotional processes. Your old demons, bits and remnants from that puzzle that is now in the fucking garbage because you threw that shit away. You're like, wait a sec, this was on the old fucking puzzle, the defunct puzzle, but it don't belong here. Why the fuck is this shit presenting itself to me? It's because this is reality rewind. This is, you have tilted the poles. You have the pole, this is your old timeline, and you had paradigms and thought processes and emotional state of beings going on in that old timeline that you do not want to bring with you into the new desired timeline, whatever they may be. It don't have to be nothing dramatic. Whatever it may be, you are brought forth the reality rewind so that you may conjure up new energy, which is exactly in opposition to the pole that was going on, that was running rampant, that was driving the old timeline. So if that old crusty dusty puzzle piece tries to present itself to you in a way a thought form occurs, in, let's say, the way a particular person presents themselves to you, whatever it is, know that you must, in order to propel yourself into the new timeline, this is sort of like the test. It's like, do you really want to progress into the new timeline? If you do, you can't bring the fucking past with you unless you want to experience that and bring that forth into your new timeline. Things from the past might present themselves, and is your job as reality rewind to rewrite the script. So the example with me, what I personally noticed is that I created a paradigm for myself, and I did this years ago. And this paradigm, let me tell you, okay, that shit was not pretty. Flush that shit. This paradigm occurred because of something that I did. And I also just want to throw in here a little side note. You have to take responsibility for creating your own experience. That might be triggering for some, but when you take conscious awareness, when you take possession of, yes, I caused this, even if you caused it subconsciously, unconsciously, even if it was something that you perceive was done to you, you still caused it because you chose to carry it with you, because nothing is going to be carried with you unless you allow it, and you can allow it subconsciously. Maybe I'll make another video on that, but you did choose everything, even things that you consider to be detriment. So own up, say, listen, tell yourself you're motherfucking sorry. I did this, I created this, whether consciously or not, but you know what? My bad, I ain't doing that shit no more. And you claim your new desired timeline in doing so. If you take responsibility, everything is going to come back on you regardless, because it is your universe. But that is also signaling the universe, you know what, I'm in control. I have always been in control. Even the things that you didn't like, you were in control of that due to your vibration. You might not have been aware at the time that you were in control of it, because obviously I don't think anyone would want to cause something detrimental in their experience, but you have to really go, when you dive deep into the layers of the mind, you understand how you created your own chaos. That's it. We don't do triggers here. If you're triggered, this ain't gonna be the video for you. when I had created my paradigm that I did not want in my new timeline, this paradigm does not belong. I realized that when whatsoever it was that was presenting itself to me in my reality currently, I was like, wait, I've seen that before. Remember the dusty puzzle piece? But I'm like, you know what? This shit don't belong here now. So I said, let's get to the root cause of how this was created, because you could know that you create your reality all day long, all night long, but if you have a belief system in you that is running on overdrive, which I mean the subconscious mind, the belief system is just gonna kill it every time. So your belief system, it needs to be cleared out. Okay, wipe clean the motherfucking hard drive, get that shit out of there. I'm just going to call it the paradigm of the magic notebook. So I had a magic notebook years ago, and things that I would write in this magic notebook, they started occurring, and it created a paradigm, which created a lot of fucking chaos. So I realized when the same thing kind of presented itself to me, the thing in which I was writing about in my magic notebook started presenting itself to me in my current reality, or, well, not current right now, but a little bit ago, into my most recent reality, I guess you could say.
I was like, wait a second, this shit don't belong here. That shit the dusty puzzle piece. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck?
So I was like, you know what? This is the root of the problem. This is the crux of the motherfucking matter. I control my own reality, and you know what? I caused some fucking chaos for myself way back when. Now I know better. I have the consciousness. My vibration has recognized that this piece I created, yes I did, I will own it, I will accept it. But if I can own it and accept it, that is the key to switching the fucking poles. You now rectify it by doing the exact opposite. So if something from your past tries to tempt you, tries to bait you, what you do is you say whatever the fuck, you do whatever, you write that shit down. I don't know what you gotta do, but you go into the root of the matter. Where the fuck did I first see this shit? And then you override it with the exact opposite. Reality rewind. It's going to bring you something from your past, which is why I'm calling it reality rewind, so that you can get to the root of the motherfucking matter and you can fix it. So how I was guided to fix my paradigm was another motherfucking magic notebook. And now the shit that I write in my magic notebook,
that should be coming true too, but it's shit that I fucking want.
So that's just my example. Obviously for everyone it's going to be different, but that's just the easiest way I can tell you. Need to get to the root of the matter. This is the precursor for transitioning into timelines, because that shit from the past is going to try to rear its motherfucking ugly head on me. Collapse of the shaky tower. So if you didn't click off the video already, props to you. I see you. What's up? Get ready for the tower moment, because this is something else that is going to occur, especially if you are like me and you like shit to move motherfucking fast.
Besides that, I'm an Aries, and one of my tarot cards is the motherfucking tower.
So I'm good with that. I'm good with a little shake up. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with a little shake up. But not everyone might be. Now the tower moment, this is the exact point where the timelines, they switch it up. They coalesce together.
Okay, here's one for you.
If you've ever ridden the subway or the fucking underground, or if you've ever been on like a railroad, like an Amtrak train, whatever the fuck it is, you know how they have different tracks, right? What's happening when the tower moment occurs in your experience, it's like the train, your old timeline, the tracks are going in one direction, but guess what? You have to switch the track. I don't know what the fuck that shit is called, but you gotta press some button and then the tracks motherfucking move. And then instead of the train going here, the train is going the other direction, right? Into the direction of the new timeline that is preferred by you. At that switch point, at that juncture, you will experience a tower motherfucking moment. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit here and sugarcoat shit. Shit's gonna woo, shit's gonna explode. Shit might implode, involution, evolution, revolution. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's gonna happen, okay? It's going to happen, but it is not scary. I made a video way back when about the scary tarot cards, and if I remember, I'll link it. The tower is not scary. The tower is simply showing you, it is showing you that that old crusty dusty puzzle, it needs to be dismantled. And if you are serious about shifting your reality, you understand and you are able to observe things through your higher self, through your eye, through the oversoul. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? But it's not going to be something that all your psychic ability, everything, I mean, you might have little inklings signs of the tower moment occurring, like in regards to what it pertains to or whatever, but the way that it plays out, you're not going to expect it. Just like the way that your new timeline comes in, bearing the gifts that you wish to receive, you're not going to really be able to pinpoint either. You might have some sensory interludes with it, but you're not necessarily going to know the how it's going to show up, the where. I mean, it's going to turn out better than you expected, but it's the same thing. So if you are psychic and you know that you're psychic, the tower moment is still going to be a shock to you. That's why it's called the goddamn fucking tower. Something is going to occur with the tower moment to shake shit up, because the tower is typically depicted with like the all-seeing eye on top. It's typically depicted going on at nighttime, and it is showing the lightning, which is significant of illumination, so seeing in the dark. The tower is illuminated. Here is what needs to crumble in order to rebuild. The tower is also a fucking phallic symbol. What happens is that the phallic symbol, this is really representation of something needs to explode in order to create something new, and what was causing the explosion is no more. Just like that puzzle piece, imagine that puzzle that we have and we like, why the fuck this puzzle still in our experience? Imagine the tower as just boom, the puzzle exploding. Like you got mushroom clouds and fucking nuclear sirens going off. Only there ain't gonna be a warning with a fucking siren, you know what I mean? It's just gonna boom, and there was no fucking warning. That is a tower moment. But I also assure you, you are going to be able to see the enlightenment. That's why the all-seeing eye is there. Railroads intersect timeline 1, timeline 2, but you want timeline 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the fuck it is. You want the desired timeline. You're like, oh, okay. And it's going to set you on that course. And you do realize, if we want to keep it in with the whole theme of tarot cards, after the tower comes the star. So if you want to think of the timeline that you are moving away from as the tower, then you want to think of the timeline that you are moving towards as the star. And the star is simply wishes fulfilled, hopes and dreams, all of that good stuff that you have desired. Now it is going to be presented to you on that new timeline. Time bandits. So there are two instances that I want to discuss in regards to time when you have shifted into your new reality, into the reality that is so desired by you. Time is going to show itself as the motherfucking illusion that it always was. There are two branches that I'm going to speak about, which is depending on you. Remember, everyone is an individual. For me personally, I did notice that time, like let's say clock time, won't necessarily add up or compute or calculate to how the way I am feeling. I might look at the clock and I'm like, wait, it's only that time, or it's already that time, and I will have no idea what time it is when I am being present in the moment, because when you're being present in the moment, as your upgraded higher octave self tends to be most likely of the percentage of the time, you are not even going to be aware of time. You'll be like, yep, shit's just going on. I'm just here. I'm flowing with it. I'm growing with it. That is how you are operating on the new timeline, because you've upgraded. So the time on the clock might seem a little fucking wonky to you, right? But you're really going to notice it. The next thing with the acceleration of time is, let's say we're talking about the tower timeline and the star timeline. The acceleration of time bringing you shit into the star timeline is going to be right after that tower moment, is going to be
like rapid fire, quick, 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 quick.
You'd be like, what the fuck is going on? You feel like you're juggling shit, and you're just gonna be like, whoa, all of this is happening at once. And that is because you allowed the tower to relieve you of the burden of the old timeline. So now you have elevated, you have allowed yourself to become higher octave frequency so that the new timeline can suit you, and you are more in sync, you are more in tune, you are more in touch with the universe, which is operating under no false pretense of time. So you might notice movement in your physical realm experience very, very rapidly. So let's say in your new timeline, you are trying to manifest your dream home. You are going to notice that a dream home suddenly appears out of nowhere, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And you see a for sale sign. Then you walk in and there just happens to be a real estate agent showing someone else out of the home. You approach them, you're like, hey, listen, is this home for sale? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, yes, as a matter of fact, it is. And these other people declined the offer. So are you interested in this home? You get what the fuck I'm talking about. Obviously, it's going to be different for everyone, and this could be going on in multiple areas of your life. So you could have the dream home. It might have something to do with you want to get a pet, you want to get a new pair of shoes, whatever the fuck you want to do. All the things that you want are going to start presenting themselves to gift themselves to you in rapid fire succession, because the illusion of time is going to start to wane as you progress and upgrade along your journey. Walking on air. This one, I don't know if this is specific to me, but I'm
mentioning everything here, so, take what resonates, obviously.
The walking on air one, as you progress into your new timeline, as you are upgraded into your higher vibrational frequency, whatever it is, you will notice that your physical vessel seems to be lighter. It's going to seem like you have no bones in your body. It might seem like you're very fluid and you're just very go with the flow in a physical manner. Like you might notice your body's agility increasing and your balance and your visceral reactions being very, very quick. This is going to feel like you might feel like you don't even have a vessel. You might feel the sensation that yes, you understand consciously that you have a physical vessel that you are partially residing in, but you also understand that the physical vessel is only another creation of the ethers, which really is just slowed down vibrating waves. And you are going to have the sensation that your physical vessel is light as air, floating, and you might or might not have felt like that before, but each time you progress into a new desired timeline, you are going to notice that your physical vessel seems to become more lighter and more able to be bent to your whim. Universal synchronicities. With this one, we are also having, as you notice that your body might be becoming lighter, you also notice in your energetic field that if you even have a question in your mind, the answer will seem to come to you right away, whether it's by a song coming on the radio, a show coming on, a fucking meme or a post you see online, whatever the fuck it is. You might literally be thinking something and then right away there will be confirmation to what you said. It might be the answer to a question. Whatever it is, you're going to notice that there is really no separation betwixt you and your outer environment, and that is what I mean by universal synchronicity. That's what I mean by universal synchronicities. So as your body becomes lighter and you are more activated into the light body in the vessel, now the vessel is more open and receptive to the influences of the universe that are always presenting itself to the physical vessel. So this can also be in terms of intuition, like your body felt like turning this way around the corner instead of taking the route you always took. Things like that. You are going to notice that you are being presented with more things in your 3D that seem to answer your questions or guide you in the right direction immediately. Distortions of the 3D. So here's another one that I think I'm going to branch off into two separate areas. The first one is going to be the distortions, which you might start seeing things. I don't mean that like I'm fucking crazy. You really might start seeing things. There might be like little shadow creatures, and that's the best way I know how to describe it at this point. And what I mean by this, I will give you an example of the shadow creatures, because these are going to be distortions in your 3D that you are visually going to see. I'm not talking about seeing it through your third eye. I'm seeing like your two eyes are going to start seeing into other dimensions and into other timelines. Oh yes. An example for me, this happened a few years ago, but I've been experiencing it pretty frequently now that I transitioned into my new timeline. So this is the best example, which was there was one time and I was sitting in a car. I wasn't driving, but I was sitting in the car, and out of nowhere there was a shadow that appeared in front of the car, and there were no cars or anything. It was kind of like an empty road, I suppose, a deserted road, whatever you want to say. And it was at nighttime, but I know that I saw a shadow in the headlights of something just standing in the middle of the headlights. So I said, oh my god, what's that, to the individual that was driving. They're like, what's what? And I'm like, you didn't see that? And they're like, no. And then I looked again and I didn't see anything, but I know for damn fucking Skippy that I done seen a fucking shadow figure in the headlights with my own two eyes, because I know the difference, and I'm sure you do too, the difference betwixt seeing something with your third eye and seeing something literally with your physical eyes. I saw this literally with my physical eyes, and then we went to go where we had to go, and then when we were driving back on that same road, interestingly enough, what happened is that all of a sudden, I'm not paying attention, I was like looking at my phone or some shit, I don't know what I was doing, but then the car brakes suddenly, because who was driving brakes suddenly, and I'm like, what? And then I looked up, and then it was in the middle of the road. It was a deer, literally a deer in motherfucking headlights, and it was just like that. And then, you know, obviously the deer ran away and whatever, but I was like, holy shit, that is what I fucking saw maybe like an hour or two ago, before, when we were arriving to that destination. Now we were departing from that destination going back, and on that same road I saw the deer in real life, but a few hours before I had just seen the shadow of the deer. So it's gonna be something like that. You might start seeing like shadows of something that is about to happen in your 3D, but you're going to see it with your physical eyes, and you're gonna be like, wait, I know I saw that. So that's been happening to me frequently, but the thing that I wanted to tell you is that these are things that are going to arrive into your new timeline. So if you choose to, take note of where these items are located when they present themselves to you. How big are they? What shape are they? All that type of stuff. Because with the deer situation, it was just a situation. It was neutral. Nothing crazy happened. It was like, I thought I saw a deer. I said, what the fuck is that? Well, I didn't think I saw a deer. I saw a shadow, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And then who I was with was like, what? There was nothing there. But then a few hours later, I wasn't looking out the fucking window, and then they stopped the car. They're like, oh shit, like, what is that? I'm like, oh my god, that's a deer. Not, you know, either which way. So when that happened, needless to say, I was like, ooh. The other thing with the spatial distortion and weird things that you might see with your physical eyes in 3D is what I'm going to refer to as like the Alice in Wonderland effect, for lack of better terminology. If you've seen the movie Alice in Wonderland,
Which if you fucking haven't, I don't know what's wrong with you, homie.
But if you haven't, Alice in Wonderland, there are different instances in the movie when she grows larger and then she's looking at things in her 3D environment and they are appearing smaller to her. There are times that she is smaller and then she is looking at things in her 3D environment as larger than her. When this is occurring, this is spatial distortion, and it's also very similar to like a psychedelic adventure, where you're gonna see the visuals of things that they might look this way, they might look that way, but it's the same thing, but you're seeing them in different sizes, you're seeing them in different contexts. This is because you have now opened to the possibility of observing something in its every state. What I mean by this is, let's say, because this happened like fucking yesterday, I was like leaning over my counter and I have this water bottle that I fucking take everywhere with me, and it's a big ass water bottle, I ain't gonna lie. So I was looking at something, and then when I looked up, I remember that my water bottle was kind of near me, but I turned and then it was just in my face and it was huge, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Basically what that means is that when I saw my water bottle look very huge, there is also another version of my water bottle that is larger than the one that I have.
This is such a weird example, but it's the fucking truth. I'm just telling you my fucking experience.
So there is a larger version of my water bottle that is available, maybe to me in another dimension, maybe elsewhere, but it's another possibility of a similar thing, and I was tapping into the other possibility of that similar thing. So when you are seeing things in different distortions, there are things like that do exist, but because you're looking at something like, let's say right now I'm looking at my camera or my light or whatever, there are different versions of these things that exist maybe for me in another timeline, or they do exist really, but I'm just picking up on more possible versions of the same things that are present already in my 3D realm environment. And to piggyback off of this, the last thing with distortions in the physical environment is more shit that goes on with me, because,
I guess I'm just lit with this weird shit. Anyway.
You might notice that you maybe turned on the bath water, right? You turned on the fucking faucet. You turned on the faucet in the bathtub and you're filling the tub because you want the water temperature to be your desired temperature, yada, yada, yada. You go, you do something else. Let's say you make a cup of tea, whatever the fuck you want to do you, boo. And then you come back and you remember that you turned on that fucking water faucet to fill the bathtub up, but you come back to the bathtub and you're like ready to jump in and shit, and that shit is empty and there's no water running, and you're like, wait, but I know that I started filling the bathtub. Things like that might start occurring. For example, yesterday I turned on the water of my washing machine, I put a whole bunch of clothes in, I put the detergent, and then I stepped away for however long. I got preoccupied doing something else. I don't know, I have a short attention span, so it's fucking who knows what I was doing. So then when I came back a while later, knowing that enough time had passed intuitively, that I would be able to now put my damp clothes into the dryer so that they could dry, because, you know, I remember fucking putting them in the washer to wash them. I went back, and it wasn't until my last piece of dry clothing went into the dryer that I was like,
holy shit, these clothes are dry.
I didn't even fucking wash them, but yet I remember turning on the water and putting the fucking soap, and I walked away, and then I was like, my clothes will be damp now, and then I could put them in the dryer because they've been washed, and they were fucking dry. And I'm not talking like the next day, like I came back and they were sitting in there for like a day, because that's just disgusting. That shit gonna stink. It was like I came back in maybe like less than an hour, so the clothes would have still been damp had I turned them on. But I did turn on the fucking washing machine, but the clothes were dry, and I was like, holy shit, that's what happened. I didn't even realize that I jumped a timeline until I thought about it, and I'm like, oh my god, I fucking switched another timeline. Because that's another thing with timelines, you can jump timelines all day long, even for the most minute thing. It doesn't always have to be a major thing, but every time some weird shit like that happens, know that you have jumped a timeline, because in one timeline I put my clothes into the fucking washing machine, and in the other timeline I didn't. But maybe in the other timeline my clothes were meant to be washed at the time that they finally did go in the wash and actually got washed. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Because what I was doing in the moment, I was maybe focused on even a greater timeline than the one that I had already transitioned to, so then the reality just had to switch. So also I believe, you know, some motherfuckers can call them glitches in the matrix, which, you know, that's neither here nor there. It could be, it might not be, I don't know. It's really just what terminology resonates with you, but I just call them spatial distortions and oddities in the fucking 3D. The currency. Here's one that I have experienced a lot throughout the course of my time in this physical vessel.
Most likely other physical vessels.
And I'm sure you have too, but it's especially when you jump a timeline, you will notice that your higher charge is going to start causing an interference or weird oddities to occur with things around you that are electronic in nature. This could be lights, this could be literal electronics, computers, whatever it is. Things that are running on currency are going to start behaving weirdly, and if you haven't really experienced this before, you are going to notice this, just because the energy that they are tapping into is going to be able to be manipulated by you. Yesterday, I was thinking about, I am speaking to my camera and my camera is speaking to me. This is when I was filming another video. I was just like thinking that. And I was like, because I knew I was going to film this video, so I was just thinking, you know, because I have things even going on in the back of my mind right now as I'm talking to you, because, you know.
That's Mercury, you don't shut the fuck off!
So what was going on in the backgrounds when I was filming my other video was like, I am speaking to my camera, but I know that whatever my currency is, it is also going to influence the electrical items that are around me as well. So I was thinking, if I turn on my camera without even touching it, right? Just, you know, telepathically turning on my camera, right? So I was just thinking that as I was filming another video.
So why the fuck would I not be thinking about something when I'm talking about something else?
Either which way. Yesterday, then my phone, which, I mean, pretty much everyone's phone has a camera now, but the camera on my phone, I was taking a pic, and I don't know how to really operate I mean, like, I do shit, I don't know how I do it, so I wouldn't really know the method that I did, but I wanted to take a pic from my phone of something. So I went to go press the button, and then I put the phone in my lap, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna take another pic. So then I picked my phone up, I'm like, I'm gonna take another pic. You know what I'm saying? You know, you take a pic, or you take a pic, you know, so I want to take me a motherfucking pic. So I was like, you know what, let me go again. And I knew that it was something that I intended, that I was going to keep taking a few multitude of pictures until I saw the one that I wanted. So I went to press the button to take another picture, but my fucking, and there's probably a technical definition, I don't know what it is, because I didn't press anything any different, right? Like, and people that know me in person, they can vouch for this. I ain't fucking lying. I mean, there's no reason, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna lie about that? Who's gonna make it up? But either which way, I know there's probably a technical definition why the camera did this, but what happened is I went to go press the button, and before my finger went on the button to take a pic, it just started taking pics by itself, and I didn't press anything. I was like,
what?
And then like the camera, I was just holding my phone, which my camera was looking at the thing that I was taking a picture of, and it just kept going. It just kept taking pics, like, and I would switch the angle, then it would click, and then it was just doing it by itself. And I'm like, yo, that shit, thank you, universe. I thank the universe for that, because
how strange is it?
and we're still on the topic of electronics, but you know, I tend to go all over the place, but we're still on the topic of electronics. But what happened is that because I thought that if I control electronics around me telepathically, that had to happen, that had to show up in my experience, because my vibe is now more highly charged, so I can influence the electronic things around me. And with this, you know, when the camera just started taking pics by itself, it was very similar to what I was thinking when I was filming the other video, where I was like, I turned my camera on and off through my mind. So this one, I was just taking pics through my mind. I literally was not touching anything. So things like that might start occurring, like weirdness with electronics, also with lights. Yesterday, it was really weird. You know, I was hanging out here with Lucifer, and like all of a sudden, like the light, it danced. I don't know what it did. It danced. It was like whoop whoop, and I was like, what the fuck? Because I was thinking something, and then the light like kind of confirmed it or denied. I don't know what the fuck, but I was thinking something. I don't remember what the fuck I was thinking. And the light, it danced and it like flickered. And then Lucifer, I was channeling Lucifer because we were hanging out. He's like, my darling, I just showed you that you made the lights dance. And I said,
Oh snap!
thank you, Lucifer. So that is just an example of, you know, electrical currents maybe going haywire, chaotic, malfunctioning, or maybe you actually controlling electronics with your mind. Physical vessel sensations. This one, it's really kind of obvious. Your physical vessel, once you jump a timeline, once you activate a higher level of consciousness, your physical vessel is going to want to, going to need to, and going to have to keep up with the higher octave. I keep saying octave. Ooh, oct. It's going to have to keep up with the higher octave of energy that you are vibrating at. Weird metaphor, not so weird. I think a lot of people understand. If you have a specific type of car, you might have been told that you cannot put, I don't even know the term, where I'm at, we have, I think, 93 and then 91. I don't know. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm 3D shit. I don't really give a fuck. But whatever, right? So let's say you have a car, and you know, there's two separate cars, and one car, it's a different model, it's a different make, it's a different whatever the fuck it is. It's going to require a higher octane gasoline to drive it compared to maybe another car. So cars, they need to, because the car, we want to think of our physical vessel as the car, they need to be given the nourishment that is going to sustain that particular model. So one model car might be okay with 80, 89. I don't even know.
Listen, I ain't even trying to pretend I know, so I'm just throw out numbers. I just know 93 and that's it.
89, 91, 70, whatever the fuck that shit is, okay? I don't know. But you have car number one, and they're okay. They could have the 93 gasoline, but they're okay with the 87 gas, right? But the other car, it ain't even gonna, it gonna look at 87 gasoline like, you stupid, you think I don't know what you're doing here, right? And that's the way that the physical vessel is going to be. So with the physical vessel sensations, you have to understand that it's the same thing as a car. When your car needs gasoline, it will pop up an alert. It'll say, please refuel. So your physical vessel is going to upgrade. It's going to meet you at your new level of consciousness in order to acclimate, in order to support the higher vibrational frequency. So you might notice that there are changes in your diet, in your appetite, in the way that you're perhaps exercising or not exercising. Whatever it is, your body is going to alert you, and because you understand that you are the one that drives the vessel, you fucking pilot the motherfucking Enterprise, you understand that your vessel is always in contact with you, and your vessel, just like your consciousness, did upgrade to meet you where you're at in your new reality. So when your physical vessel, if you have a craving for something that you never had a craving for before, understand that's your physical vessel, just like your car, saying, listen, you know, you used to eat McDonald's, but now I want you to go to fucking Petalooga Steakhouse. Shit like that, okay? Weird example, but
I think you get the gist of what I'm saying.
And this is the same thing for your body sensations. You might notice that, let's say, because remember, the body is acclimating to the new timeline. One example, random, you want to be a triathlete in your new timeline, right? Like you biking, you swimming, you, I don't know what the fuck, you rowing the canoe and shit. Whatever you doing on your new timeline, understand that your physical body is becoming in preparation for that. So if you are an Olympic athlete in your new timeline, you might start noticing, even if you haven't worked out all day, soreness in your legs. Because guess what? If you're an Olympic athlete, you're a fucking triathlon motherfucker,
whatever they're fucking called,
your legs are probably going to be sore from time to time from all the fucking work you're doing with your legs, right? They're going to be sore because you, as the Olympic athlete, you are utilizing your legs more in this timeline than you were in the other timeline. So you might start to notice in terms of like different, what your body wants to take in, maybe more water, maybe more plants, maybe more whatever the fuck. You're also going to notice that your body might start having sensations as if you were already living in the new timeline, because this is a transition period. Right when you first get into it, your body it's going to get acclimated, and this is ideal. You always want to make sure that your body is given the proper nourishment to house the new consciousness level of the soul, because that's the whole purpose of having a physical vessel, right? You have it in tip-top shape, you know, you got rims, you got temps on that fucking bad boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you hook your fucking physical vessel up just like you would hook your car. Like, you want to make sure that everything is brand spanking new and that you are listening. When your physical vessel says, please refuel, or please feed me, I need to exercise, I need to sleep, I need to wake up, whatever your physical vessel is letting you know, you from the higher octave, you understand that you are the driving force behind the physical vessel, but the physical vessel is also having a relationship with you, and that is why you listen to it and you give it what it wants, because it will tell you. If you know how to listen, it will fucking tell you, and you give it what it wants, and it gives you what you want, which is the support to house the soul to continue to have these wonderful experiences in the 3D realm,
in this beautiful video game,
and then you enjoy yourself and your physical vessel. But it's the same thing true if you are an Olympic athlete in your star timeline and you were a lazy couch potato in your fucking tower timeline. Guess what? As soon as you intersect that juncture, you might start noticing like your legs are fucking sore, and you're like, why? Oh, that's right, because I'm an Olympic motherfucking athlete. Sleep cycles. This one might be a little bit different for everyone. In my personal experience, I noticed that I have more of an alert nature than in my previous timeline. I still like sleep. I love sleep. I fucking love it.
That's the second best thing you could do in the fucking bedroom. Just
with this is that when you are vibrating at a higher decibel frequency, whatever the fuck, you will notice that you are having better sleep. Your sleeps are more productive. Like, you sleep through the night, it's very peaceful, it's very regenerative, it's very restorative, and you are likely to notice that there are changes. If you were someone who used to sleep a lot, like let's say your natural sleep point was maybe 12 hours a day, maybe that's what was going on with you, you might notice as you progress along in the new timeline that you only need maybe 8 hours of sleep in this timeline. And that is simply because your sleeps are becoming more productive, which means that sleep is very healing. There's so many articles based on science that you can look into that. Not going to get into that, but sleep it's a restorative, calming experience. And that is essentially now, I mean, we're talking about gas cars. Now we're going to talk about fucking electric cars. So if you want to imagine an electric car being charged up at the station, giving it fuel, giving it power, that is essentially what sleep is doing. When you are sleeping, you are charging up your physical vessel. At the same time, you are allowing it to relax. So just depending on the individual, some of you might find that you only needed a little bit of sleep in your old timeline, but now you need maybe an extra hour, but it feels good. You don't feel groggy or whatever. Kind of like if you sleep too much, you kind of feel this weird way. I don't even know how to describe it. I think you know what I'm talking about. Just depending on you, depending on the individual, you will notice that either which way, if you start requiring less sleep or you start requiring more sleep, the apex here is that your sleep will be more productive and restorative. And this is simply because on your new timeline, you have upgraded your energy, your aura, your soul, your psyche, everything. It's been upgraded. So now you are more in tune with the physical vessel, just as I mentioned with the other examples. And the more in tune you are with the physical vessel, the more your physical vessel is going to bend bend to your every whim. So if you require a little more sleep, you understand that you getting that more sleep, that sleep is going to be restful. You are going to be more replenished. If you require less sleep, you are still charging yourself up, but perhaps in your new timeline, it would behoove the new version of you to require less sleep. Maybe you want to be up during waking hours more in your new timeline, whereas for some, they might want to be asleep for an extra hour in that new timeline. It all depends on where your desire is to be and what you have going on within you. Epilogue. Tips to progress. We've already spoken about the timelines, the little metaphors, the examples, the analogies, the preludes. Now we're going to talk about what happens when you really are intent to stay in that new timeline and move forward into even more desired timelines. I think I'm going to bring that age-old cliche saying about baggage into this because this is the best way that I can really describe it. If you are progressing into your new timeline, at first, there's going to be, because even though there might be a tower moment where the paths cross, there's still going to be somewhat of an ombre effect. It's not going to be immediately jumping from chapter 4 into chapter 5. There's going to be that little transition period right when when you start noticing all of this is going on after the tower intervention. And what we have here is now this is you choosing, do I really want to progress into this timeline? I'm seeing all these signs, synchronicities, I know what's right, I feel what's right, I see what's going on, you understand, but you're going to want to appease the ego because as long as you're in a third dimensional vessel, the ego,
that motherfucker, he always gonna be present.
So what you have to understand is that during that little gradient period betwixt chapter 4 and chapter 5, that is where you truly claim your power. That is where you make the decision to choose. You say, do I want to bring forth this with me into the new timeline or do I not? And this is what I'm talking about, baggage. This can be literal baggage. This could be if you have an old piece of luggage, we're going to take it back to that dusty puzzle. You don't want to take that dusty puzzle with you, so you might, let's say you dismantle the puzzle, but you take a little piece with you of that puzzle. That's fine, but you don't want to bring the whole thing, right? Because this is going to be different for everyone. So I'm not saying that you're just going to blast off and like nothing is going to be the same again. You're still going to have individuals in your experience that you want to bring forth into your new timeline. You might have a photograph of, let's say, your first house that you lived in, that you're no longer living in that house, but you just want to have a photo. Sure, why not? But the thing is that your consciousness, your focal point of attention to the thing that you are bringing forth, that has changed because you have changed. So it's okay to bring a picture of your old house with you, just because why not? As long as it's not like charged up in a way that you perceive as detrimental, go ahead, you can bring shit with you. But if there's some shit, like there's an old broken fucking toilet bowl and that shit don't even flush no more, the fuck you holding on to it? Just no, don't do that. This is where you make your choice to step into the new version of you, what you would have around you, who you would have around you. And as I'm going into who you would have around you, if you want to keep motherfuckers in your experience, but you have changed, you are going to be looking at them different. And I don't mean in a shady way. I don't mean that, oh, they're not evolved and you elevated to the next level. No, I mean, although motherfuckers can evolve at the same time, but it's not like that. It's like, okay, you're friends with someone and you want to bring them forth into your new experience because you've changed. Maybe that friend to you was a confidant in the other timeline. They were a confidant, but now you're like, you know what? Like, I really enjoy this person. Maybe I'm gonna ask them to be my roommate because they're already my confidant. So they are going to change. Their role might change in a more beneficial way if you have changed, but you are going to start looking at different individuals differently. They might have been XYZ before and they would have been fucking great, maybe, I don't know, but now you, because you've elevated and you want to take them with you because you have elevated your frequency, it's just going to be natural. You're going to be looking at motherfuckers around you that they are also elevated in a way, and that is just your projection of them. The same thing with the baggage. If you don't want to take something with you, if there's an individual that you do not want to take with you into the new timeline, then the most obvious thing to do, which you already fucking know, is just not focus on it, not give it attention, right? Because the less you focus on something, the less it's going to be prevalent in your experience. But understand, in your new timeline, because there is no, I mean, there's always creation and destruction, but it's simultaneously happening, but there are no empty spaces, is what I'm saying. So let's say that you don't want to deal with XYZ motherfucker from the previous timeline. Understand that that space is going to be filled, because it can't be empty. There's not ever going to be a void. So if you had, let's say, a sibling that you kind of got along with, but you don't really want to bring them forward because you're just like, you know what, fuck that shit. That's one example. But when you choose to proceed into the new timeline as the new version of you, you also understand that the motherfuckers around you, they are going to level up and greet you. So if you don't want someone from your former timeline in the present timeline, in the future timeline perhaps, then you understand that, you know what, there was an individual, maybe they were a sibling, and you tried to have a relationship with them for years, but you just couldn't. And you're like, you know what, in my new timeline, I'm going to make me a new friend, and they are going to be like the sibling that I never had, that I wanted to experience with that sibling, but it just didn't happen in that timeline. Now, I'm not saying that you're never going to speak to this person again or whatever, but I think you catch the drift of what I'm saying, right? Like, you don't want to let go of anything unless you're going to bring forth something more beneficial to you that is similar to that, because the space is going to want to be filled with something similar. And you have to understand, like, if I let go of this former house, yeah, I'm moving into my dream mansion, like, it's the place is already set for the upgrade. That's a really good, ooh, I like that, thank you, universe. A place is already set, the table has been set, it is prepared for the upgrade. Understand that there are no voids. I don't give a fuck what you heard, there are no voids. It might feel like it sometimes, you might think there are sometimes, but there are no voids. Anything that you choose to let go of, something else is going to come in its place, and it's up to you. Do you want that something else in its place to be an upgraded version, or do you just want to keep on with the same nonsense bullshit, whatever it is? Your old baggage,
that scuffed up, duffed up, muffed up
suitcase that you took everywhere with you, yeah, that's great. You might have memories with that. Oh yeah, I went here, I went there, I went every fucking where with that suitcase. Take a wheel from the suitcase, but don't bring that with you. Have yourself the upgraded, brand spanking, shiny new luggage, because you know that you like to travel, and you know that there is not going to be a void. So you have to choose to fill the space with that what you want. Also with this, I feel like this is spoken about a lot in the law of attraction communities, but I'm just going to add it on here because this really is going to encapsulate everything that I'm talking about, because you might have experienced everything that I was fucking talking about in this video, but if you don't consciously keep making the decision to be the new version of you, the old way, I mean, it's going to try to riptide. What the fuck is that shit called? At the beach? The undertow. That shit might try to undertow its way back into your experience, and you think that you over here and you watching your fucking beach blanket in the motherfucking sand, and then all of a sudden you're like all the way over here and you're like, wait, where did my beach blanket go? And then you're looking around, you're like, holy shit, it's over there. How did I get over here? That's the motherfucking undertow. So you don't want no motherfucking undertow to come at you trying to drag you back into your old fucking reality. You understand that you have changed, so you make the conscious effort. This is again with the choosing, but this is now more choosing about your vibration. So if you were someone in your old timeline, in your tower timeline, that you were looking for jobs, you were looking for jobs because you wanted your dream career, in your new timeline, if you have noticed all of these shifts and you are experiencing the creation of the new timeline, it's like the momentum is speeding up. In your old timeline, you were looking for your dream job, but in your new timeline, you are living out your dream job. So you're not going to be constantly worried about sending out your resume. Now, I'm not saying do not send out your resume, but there's going to be a different type of intention behind you sending out your resume to one place that is your dream career, and they're going to hire you right away on the spot. There's a difference in that type of energy of sending out your resume, which that's what you want to do if you are manifesting your dream career. But the energy of the old timeline is more nervous. It's more worried. It's like, oh, let me send this out to XYZ, ABC, yada yada, whoever the fuck. A whole bunch of different things scattered scattered. With the new timeline, if you still want to send out your resume, yes, whatever's going on for you, but you are looking at things from a level of confidence that might not have existed in that previous timeline, where in the previous timeline you sent out your resume at 10 different places, but your energy behind sending out that resume was nervous, it was worried, it was frightened, there was fear-based. That shit ain't no more in the new timeline. You're like, you know what? I want this job. I'm gonna just send my resume and I'm gonna forget about it. That is the difference. So there's choosing physically what you want around you. There's also choosing energetically to continuously step into the new version of who you are. And that is how change happens. And you can transition timelines many times, even in one day, to keep the momentum going. You don't want to step on the brake ever. If anything, if you remove your foot from the accelerator and you decide to coast, much better than stepping on the brake. Stepping on the brake is just going to simply push you back, and I'm sure you don't fucking want that because you've already came so far. So you have to consciously choose what you want around you, but also choose who the fuck you are. Are you the nervous motherfucker sending out your resume all over the place? Or are you the confident motherfucker and you're like, I got this. I'm gonna send my one resume out. I got the job. It's just the level of consciousness that you're observing things and doing what you would probably do in either timeline. Because remember, it's still you. It's not like you're drastically into another portal. I mean, unless maybe that's what you want, I don't know. But typically, whilst in a humanoid vessel, you know, there's a little transition, there's a little grace period. So make sure you keep up with it. Keep up with the fucking times in your timeline. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful stroll today. I am Oculus, the alien next door, and we will chit-chat again soon.